What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to make a dedicated video talking about a bunch of the issues that I've noticed that have popped up since Season 2 has launched. Now, I'm not trying to just pile onto the hate train against Vanguard or anything. I still enjoy the game. However, I do feel it is very important to be bringing these issues up and just spreading awareness about them to hopefully encourage faster fixes, or at the very least some better communication in certain areas. And to be fair, when it comes to communication, Sledgehammer's at least been communicating pretty openly about many of these issues, and they actually had a thread on Twitter talking about a bunch of the issues I'll be sharing in today's video, and they've also updated their Trello board, so good on them for at least keeping up with communication when it comes to that. However, I still feel there are some very key issues that at this point, I really hope we can get some updated communication on, because these are issues that have been persisting essentially since the game launched. But we'll talk about those ones a bit later on, since those aren't directly related to Season 2 specific issues. Let's first focus on those. And the first one that I'm very happy to report is actually a bug and wasn't an intentional change from the pre-Season 2 update that we got late last week. This is the fact that player deaths are no longer showing up on the scoreboard, even in the post-game scoreboard for many game modes out there. I think it's still displaying for like free-for-all and team deathmatch, but outside of that, you can't see deaths on the scoreboard even after the game has completed. And at the time, I suspected this was a bug, and I was really hoping that was the case, and Sledgehammer has confirmed that is in fact true. This was an unintentional bug that was introduced, and they are aware of this, and they are working on a fix. So I'm really happy to see that one. Hopefully it doesn't take them too long to get on top of that. I feel like that should be an easier fix. Next up, there's a couple bugs relating to the brand new ball turret gunner that they added into the game, which, by the way, I've been having a blast with the ball turret gunner. I'm so happy they added it. I had so much fun using this, and it's nice to have that like top tier streak that can actually do some serious damage and is exciting to earn and use. But unfortunately with that, we do have a couple bugs. The first one is a pretty big deal. It turns out for the players on the ground, the ball turret gunner makes zero sound, like literally zero sound. You can't hear the plane flying, you can't hear the rounds coming in and impacting, you hear absolutely nothing when a ball turret gunner is in the air, and that's obviously a pretty serious issue that needs to get resolved. You basically just have to keep a close eye on the kill feed to know if there's a ball turret gunner in the air. If you see it killing other people, then that's how you know there's a ball turret gunner, because otherwise there's no real way of knowing. And it is interesting, at least at the time of recording this video, I haven't seen an acknowledgement of this yet. It's not on the Trello board as far as I can see. So hopefully Sledgehammer is actually aware of this on the back end and they just haven't updated the Trello yet. But on top of that with the ball turret gunner, there's another bug that's been happening, and apparently kills from the ball turret gunner are not counting as kills in free-for-all matches. And I've also heard rumors that it's not working in team deathmatch as well. Like, you do get the kills for yourself, but it doesn't actually contribute toward the win for your team, which obviously shouldn't be the case. Any kill that you get, whether that's from a kill streak or your gun, that should be counting toward your team. At least with this particular bug, Sledgehammer has acknowledged this on their Trello board, so they are aware of it and actively working on it. Then, outside of gameplay, the Tier 20 reward in the Battle Pass, this is an operator skin. This one had some bugs attached to it, and Sledgehammer already got on top of it and just simply disabled this reward temporarily. And then, of course, once the fix ends up coming, which is actually scheduled, so they've already fixed this on the back end, we just haven't seen the fix arrive yet, then this will be given to the players that have reached Tier 20. So I'm actually really happy that they got on top of something like this so quickly. I wish they would have done the same thing with the Daniel skin that was causing a bunch of crashes early on in the game's life cycle, because I assume this was having a somewhat similar effect. I don't know exactly what problem this was causing, but it's nice to see that they actually got on top of that immediately. Additionally, apparently there's a UI bug where prestige levels aren't showing properly. This is something I never would have noticed myself, because prestige levels and stuff mean literally nothing to me anymore with how they reset every season. But apparently there's an issue there where it's not displaying correctly across all menus, so we can expect to see a fix for that at some point since they have acknowledged this one. Then, when it comes to Xbox and PC players, apparently the Season 2 update kind of broke a lot and was causing a lot of crashes and connectivity issues. A lot of people literally couldn't boot up the game from what I've seen. And it seems like they're actively testing fixes for this already, so they've already pushed some potential fixes out there. So I don't know if they've already gotten on top of this for many people, or if people are still experiencing this. Please let me know in the comments if you're still experiencing connectivity issues on Xbox or PC. But in either case, we at least know that they are actively in the process of sorting this out. Next, there is an issue with spawns on Casablanca in the patrol mode where sometimes you would spawn with the enemy team at the beginning of the match, which is kind of hilarious but at the same time obviously broken, and therefore they have temporarily disabled patrol mode on Casablanca, so you can't play patrol on Casablanca until they get a fix out for that. On another note though, I just wanted to point out, Casablanca spawns are rough across the board. I've played Team Deathmatch, Hardpoint, and Domination now on Casablanca, and in all of those modes, the spawns are brutal. Like, worse than the rest of the game brutal. I made a tweet about this a couple days ago. I honestly felt like the spawns in Domination on Casablanca felt like free-for-all spawns, where there seemed to be literally zero attachment to any flags, it wouldn't spawn you anywhere near any of your teammates, and people were just popping up all over the place, constantly around the map, to the point where you just couldn't keep up with anything, and map control didn't exist. So that's another issue that they haven't mentioned, they haven't acknowledged that. Hopefully we'll see some spawn tweaks, especially on Casablanca. Which, on another note, surprisingly, the gondola spawns, for me at least, were excellent. Like, some of the best spawns I've seen in the game. I'm very confused by that, and I was very surprised to see that, but overall, gondola spawns seem to work exactly how you'd expect them to work, and then Casablanca is just a complete mess. And with that, that pretty much covers it for the primary issues that I've noticed that have just recently popped up with the Season 2 update or the pre-Season 2 update from last week as well with some of these. And overall, it's good to see that they've acknowledged at least most of these issues, and the ones they haven't acknowledged, I assume at least they're aware of, and we will hopefully see some fixes for in the near future. So I did want to say good job on the communication when it comes to this. However, I really feel like these new issues are just a drop in the bucket compared to the huge issues that many players have been experiencing since launch. I've talked about these issues many times in previous videos, and I'm gonna bring it up again. I know I sound like a broken record, but these are incredibly important, fundamental issues that need to be resolved, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up until they are resolved. And the first big issue is packet loss and/or packet burst. Many people are still experiencing this constantly, and this is literally the only game that they play where they experience connectivity issues. Now, I consider myself to be one of the lucky ones. I personally haven't had any issues whatsoever when it comes to packet loss or packet burst, but I still acknowledge the fact that there are a ton of players out there that are experiencing this constantly, and I've seen their gameplay clips, and it looks completely unplayable and unbearable to be dealing with. And I know they have acknowledged this in the past, but at this point, I really think the community could use some updated communication on this. And if this isn't a very high priority item for them, they really need to be bumping that up in the priority, because this is pushing a lot of people away from the game that actually want to be playing the game. As for the second major issue that still has yet to be resolved, and this is another thing that's been around, I believe, since the game launched, this is the aim assist issues that's primarily experienced by Xbox players as well as PC players that are using a controller. And essentially with this, the aim assist for them is just working very inconsistently, which is obviously very frustrating. I don't know if I'd be sticking around playing this game if my aim assist was working just fine in some gunfights and then in other gunfights it was just disabled completely, especially as a really persistent issue that's constantly popping up. I can deal with the odd situation here or there where it feels like aim assist didn't really work that well against that player, but it seems like when it comes to this issue that many players are experiencing on Xbox and PC, it's almost like a coin flip every time you get into a gunfight. You might have aim assist, you might not, and you won't know until you start aiming in the direction of your enemy. Now, this aim assist issue appears to be tied to another issue that a lot of people are experiencing, which is flickering name tags for enemy players. So when you look at them, that red name tag and that red diamond will flicker on and off. And as far as I'm aware, this means that the game is detecting something between you and the enemy player. Even though that is invisible and it flickers on and off, I believe that is what's causing aim assist to disable, because the game is detecting that you don't actually have a line of sight on that player, even though you clearly do, and therefore it's disabling your aim assist, as it should if the enemy were behind a wall, for instance. So I suspect those are very closely linked, and they're both symptoms of a larger issue in the game. And this is something that was acknowledged and added to the Trello board on December 17th, although they did mention that it was tied to the Coldblooded perk, which I don't believe is the case. I don't think Coldblooded has anything to do with this. But in either case, this was 2 months ago that they added this to the Trello board, and it still just says that they are investigating the issue. We haven't had any updates on this whatsoever for the past 2 months, and this is a fundamental issue that is absolutely pushing players away that would otherwise want to be playing this game. And as a result, this is another area where, at the very least, I'd love to see an update from the developers on this to see where they're at. Did they forget about this issue? Are they still actively investigating this? What's happening with this, and why haven't we had any updates on this? Just like the packet burst issues that a lot of people are experiencing, this is a very serious issue that, of course, is pushing people away. And these two issues, I feel, should absolutely be the top priority issues right now. And again, I'd love to see some more communication and an update on what's going on with these issues. But finally, I just want to quickly touch on one last major issue that I've been experiencing since the game launched. And this is more so just an issue with the gameplay design itself. It's not a bug or anything that I'm aware of. This is spawns. The spawns are still brutal. If anything, I feel like they may have gotten worse with the Season 2 updates. I'm still not 100% sure if they've changed at all. But man, spawns are brutal in this game, and I haven't really seen any improvement to this. And this is mind-blowing to me because normally with Call of Duty games, you see significant improvements within the first couple months of launch. And we're several months in now with no apparent improvements whatsoever. But with that, that pretty much covers it for today's video. I'm just trying to stay on top of all of the bugs and issues that are popping up in the game. Of course, I'd like to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. What is your initial impression of Season 2 so far? Have you guys been experiencing any new issues, maybe issues that I didn't mention in today's video? If so, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you guys enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.